for the truth and getting to the bottom of the story. Larry Barker investigates on KRQE News 13. Another way we're earning your trust.
Tough times require tough measures.
So, Governor Bill Richardson got tough. Facing a growing financial crisis last year, he ordered a series of cost-cutting measures, including less use of the state's expensive-to-operate airplane fleet. But instead of less, one official actually used state planes more. Who? Here's News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker.
Who are these guys? They're not elected officials or government employees, but they are top passengers on New Mexico's most exclusive airline. It's New Mexico's fleet of state-owned aircraft, but not just anybody can hop aboard. These planes are for top government officials only, like state transportation commissioners who use state aircraft like their own personal taxi service. Commissioners Cope, Hummer, Franken, Assad, Mays, Gibson, Ortiz, and Schutz all have hitched rides on state planes to attend meetings, all of it expensive and much of it in violation of state regulations. Since '06, cost to taxpayers $685,000.
Do you know how much it costs for you to use the state airplane?
Larry, I have a Citation 6, and I very well know planes are expensive. But, you know, this has been going on for 50 years. It's been a tradition that the department has always flown commissioners.
Senator John Arthur Smith is chair of the Senate Finance Committee.
When we're in a tight financial situation like we are right now, it is bothersome, and it's got to be annoying to the taxpayers when they believe that there's been an overutilization of luxurious travel.
How do they afford this very expensive taxi cab center?
Well, obviously that they haven't looked at every nook and cranny on where they could find savings. And this is one that certainly needs to be reviewed once again.
I don't think people begrudge the fact that the state maybe has a state aircraft for use by senior officials. I think where you draw the line, though, is the justification for the use. If it starts to become too routine for routine matters, then I think it's abusive.
I think my constituents would have some issues if they knew that I was using state aircraft to attend meetings on a regular basis.
If you did use the state aircraft to attend meetings on a regular basis, how do you explain it to your constituents?
I couldn't.
It's not just highway commissioners. Look close. Here's something you've never seen before. The governor getting off the state jet. You see, Bill Richardson doesn't talk about gubernatorial travel. When he boards New Mexico One, his mode of transportation and the flight plan are confidential. Security reasons, they say. For example, in April '08, the governor flew on the state jet to Washington, then to Boston, and then back to Washington. In news releases, he touted all the high-level meetings he attended. What the Gov did not say, however, was this. The aircraft tab set back taxpayers $32,000. Since '06, the governor's state plane use tops $500,000. The lieutenant governor's plane use exceeds $360,000. But the state is in the middle of a budget crisis. So last year, the governor ordered a cutback in state plane use. Secretary Art Jaramillo oversees the state's aviation division.
The new criteria requires the cabinet secretaries to determine, is the flight for an essential service? Is it for an emergency? Is it for a surveillance activity? Or is it for health and safety? Otherwise, they've got to meet the cost efficiency requirement.
The governor said he intends to limit his use of state aircraft and expects the rest of state government to do the same. However, in the years since, Bill Richardson's own state plane use actually increased by $15,000. Perhaps the governor didn't read his own memo. Or maybe there's another reason.
Must the governor and the lieutenant governor comply with these guidelines?
The guidelines are not applicable to either the governor or the lieutenant governor.
Duncan Scott is a former Republican state senator and former assistant attorney general.
If somebody were to say, well, they're exempt from this, what would be your response?
I think that's political cover because I think what they're doing here with the airplane is outrageous, and they understand that.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
In a statement, Governor Richardson said he uses state aircraft based on the most efficient and effective use of his time, security, and cost. The Lieutenant Governor declined to discuss her plane usage with us. She has not flown on state aircraft since January.